All right, thank you so much. Those of you that are guests, if you could start making your way out, we're going to get started here in 2 minutes, so we kind of need to expedite the process. Thank you for coming tonight, and enjoy your night and safe travels home. Seats. Please take your seats. Please take your seats. Thank you. All right, we are on schedule, on time, and ready to go.
Okay. Hello. Hello, Ayers team. Well, I'm just here to say a quick hello. But did Ross Cooper do phenomenal tonight?
You guys enjoy that?
That was amazing. Well, we're so excited to be here with you tonight. You're beautiful people. I'm going to turn it over to Tobin. I'll be back in a second.
Yeah, we want to open up this night tonight with our Emeralds and Above, just to say hello to you for a few minutes, and then me and I are going to get a chance to introduce Ross and Emily to share their story, their inspiration, their wisdom about the business, and how they've built their business to break 3 platinum legs over the course of the last couple years. I personally believe tonight is going to be one of those game-changing nights for you. What you need to understand is right now in the history of this business and this world, it has never been a better time to build a business like this, because people out there are looking, but they don't want to make any major decisions. They're looking, but they don't have anyone currently doing something that's working at a progressive level. They're not buying real estate. They're not doing things with their money they used to do, interest rates, all the things in the economy and people that people would normally do in traditional business, they're holding on to. They're not investing. They're not putting more money into marketing. They're not buying up more buildings. They're not putting things on credit like they used to do. There is so much happening as a pause in the business world today, and people are looking for an opportunity that doesn't have boundaries, that has big potential, that has the ability to create something now without going into debt. We have that opportunity. We are in the opportunity. And tonight and throughout the night, our goal is to really over the next couple months, stay tuned, guys. The business has never grown better. Me and I are seeing things we've never seen happen in the history of our business right now. Yeah, give yourself a round of applause. And you know what? Here's what we have to do as business owners. We have to get stronger. We have to have stronger minds, stronger conviction, understand our marketing strategy, understand the differentiators between our business and everything else out there. We have a strong position to build and grow the biggest network in the history of Amway that's ever been built in the history of Amway right now. And I'm not saying, when I say bigger, I'm not saying bigger numbers. I'm saying more profitability per capita of IBO. I look at my business not in how big is my business. I look at it in is how profitable is each IBO? What's my average profit per IBO in this room on my team? I don't care if I get to 5,000 or 10,000. If I get there without the right people making the right amount of money with the right momentum, the right understanding for their business, then it flattens out. I don't want to have a business that goes flat. We don't have to have a business that goes flat. We've learned a ton of things over the years about progressive growth, about teaching people how to think like entrepreneurs, teaching people how to have more confidence in themselves in all categories of their life, which then comes out in the area of impacting other people's lives. These couples coming up here, we are so proud of. They have been part of that journey with us. They are absolutely kicking butt. We're doing this meeting right now. Then we're going to go right into a night owl, and then we're going to do a special Silvers and Above night owl. It's going to get crazy tonight. I hope you're ready for it. Let's bring out the first Emerald couple, Josh and Jackie Nangle, brand new Emeralds.
What's up, what's up? What's going on, team?
Hello.
Hello.
Wow.
Good evening.
Gosh.
What's up, y'all?
It's awesome to see this.
Hey, guys. All right, have a seat, y'all. We are Josh and Jackie Nangle. We are personally mentored and sponsored by Kelly and Jeanette Bremer on their way to Diamond here very shortly. Toby Mears, 3K, Phil in the Amway Center. And man, let's give it up for Ross Cooper one more time. I mean, come on. You know, he said something tonight that really stood out to me. And, you know, we were with Toby and Mia during lunch celebrating Ross and Emily. But, you know, I just looked around the table. And I was just looking at the men at the table. And I looked over at my wife, and she was sitting with women of strength. And Ross said something that reminded me that this team is not a motivation team. This is an inspiration team. And we are inspired. We are filled up, you know, and our beliefs, God within, just coming out of our pores. This team is a winning team. And you get around people in life that are fighters. You know, I've been around people that, you know, they were surrenderers. And we started getting around fighters again. And, you know, there's one word that really defines this team. You get around them. By the way, thank you, Miller team, for providing an incredible environment for us to be in here tonight. Thank you so much. You know, that's what the big team's all about. We take care of each other. You know, this is, Toby says it, a family of choice. And I'm just grateful. The one word I think about when I look across the table on, you know, the Ayers team, on the Miller team, on the Bremer team, on many teams that are in here, you know, so many different names. It's one word: devotion. And there's a lot of people, Toby would talk about dedication is great. That's what gets you going. But devotion is the long game. So I'm grateful that we chose to make this our future, to grow up in, to grow our families up in, to grow our marriage up in, to grow our team in, and to give this gift to other people. Here's my beautiful wife, Jackie.
Yes. And I just have to say, guys, that it's so good to see all of you together. It's like family reunion. Saying hi to everybody, all of our friends. But Josh is so right. This team breeds winners because we're a part of a winning team, not only on the LT team, but on all of Amway. And I have had the privilege to see our leaders from, you know, 3 years into business with Kelly and Jeanette till today. And Toby and Mia, they had been in business a little longer, but I have seen them when I didn't think they could get any better. They surprised me, and they got even better. And not only that everybody that was around them continued to get better. And I've seen ladies on my business, couples that when they come into business, you really don't know who is going to be the one. You never know who is going to change. You don't know what people have inside of them and how much people want to change. And all you have to do is just treat everybody with love and respect and give them a chance to get around you. And there will be many that will surprise you. And they will be your best friends and the ones that are going to be winning in life with you.
Awesome. Hey, let's bring up the next Emeralds, some of our heroes. I believe it's going to be our best friends, Tom and Alicia Miller, absolute heroes in our life. Let's give it up. Tom and Alicia Miller.
Right.
Hello. So we are Thomas and Alicia Miller. We are personally sponsored and coached by the awesome Toby and Mia Ayers. Woo! We couldn't be more proud than that. We are from Mount Dora, and we build this business full time.
There you go. And are you guys ready? So here's the deal. This is what I gotta say. I gotta get this out from my heart. Alicia and I were one of the first couples that got started with Toby and Mia. And maybe back in the day I wasn't the biggest dreamer, but I knew that couple was, and I could see it. I could see it in them. And look around. Are you sitting next to dreamers? That's the question. But I started to see things happen. Toby used to speak and things would move. He was able to move mountains. He said, we are going to fill coliseums. This room's packed. This room's packed. See, he saw it first, but I saw it through his eyes. Now, you guys are here tonight, and the Ayers team is doing something special. We're on the move. We're on the grow. Ross and Emily are an example of that. A young couple, they're going to hear this story. I'm not going to tell you about it. I know it, some of it, but you're going to hear about it. And if I was you, I would take notes. And then as you're taking notes, start writing your story. What do you want your story to be? Do you want to fill coliseums? Are you a coliseum individual? Are you a coliseum couple? This Ayers team is on the move. We are going to 3K. Hashtag history in the making. I've seen history to this point. I've seen the history and what it produces and the lives that it changes and the families that it changes. I've seen children grow up and then become business owners in this business. I've seen all 3 of Toby's children be born. Now, I wasn't in the room. I know the timing.
He saw them quickly afterward.
Yes.
But
I don't know how many of you have held the baby girl from your employer's, your boss. But we had the privilege of doing that. If that's the type of person you are, you're in the right room because this team's on the move. And watch one day when your children grow up and you'll be proud of them as we are of our children in business with us, as Toby's proud of his 2 daughters that are in business with him now. Honor would be in business if she could. She's just a little young. But she's got the spirit of a Toby Ayers. God bless. Let's bring up the next awesome couple. Founders Emeralds, Kelly and Jeanette Bremer.
What's up? All right, have a seat. Thank you. Woo!
Hello.
Tonight's gonna be good.
Hey. Hey, Ayers team and friends and everybody online. We are Kelly and Jeanette Bremer. We live here in Orlando, Florida on the 3K Finley Amway Center Ayers team. And we're excited to be here tonight to hear our friends, Ross and Emily Cooper. But you've heard already what a great environment this is. It's good to see everybody. I know some of you have driven from far, a few states away. I don't know if anybody's flown in, but welcome. We're happy to have you here. And you're in the best environment. If you can, I'm sorry for those of you that are online. It is electric in this room.
They can feel it online. They're screaming in their living rooms right now. Can you hear him? I can hear him through the airwaves. It's incredible. It's like a sixth sense. So I don't know about you, but when I heard Tom up here talking about Toby just waving his hand and things move, I'm like, he's a Jedi. I figured it out. He's a Jedi. Hope you will, yes. And we weren't around for babies in rooms and all kinds of stuff, but here's what I'm gonna say, because we definitely want to get Ross and Emily up here because they got some things to share with you. This is not really a time for us, but if you haven't done so already, you saw a little 30-second, 45-second clip of a video of this conference called Vault. Okay. Now you might be in here tonight going, I don't know if that's where I want to go. I don't know if that's what I'm going to do. I don't know if I can afford it. There'll be a lot of I don't knows. My recommendation, my challenge to you is that by the end of the night, like, bet me that you won't be ready. And I would highly, highly, highly recommend every single one of you by the end of tonight, make sure you get a ticket for that. Do it early so you get it out of the way, so you make sure you're there. Don't miss it. Vault 2024. Let's bring up Toby and Mia Ayers. Give it up. Go 3K!
All right. Real quick.
Hey.
Thank you.
Woo, we're excited. Okay.
All right. Thank you so
right.
much. All right. I'm pretty sure they're calling me Yoda. And I'm not sure. They disguise it as Jedi, but I know what they're saying. Okay?
That reminds me of the kids' jammies that have like the zipper feet, like all the
I
way.
had those.
You totally see them.
We need an
You
adult
zip
version
all
of
the way
that.
up. No,
However,
I don't need
if
one,
you
know.
zip too quick,
your legs are too hairy. I mean, I'll
No.
just leave that out there. I'll just put that right out
okay,
there.
first of all, when you're that age, your legs are not
all right, well,
hairy.
we are here for one purpose.
Nothing's hairy, really.
One purpose.
That's why you get a little pinch and you're like, woo, woo, woo. Dip it down real quick. Ha.
Well, I love this guy. I love being here with him for sure. And
getting
it's
myself some
always an
jammies.
adventure. I have to be prepared for the best for sure. So thank you for that. And
as much time as you have.
thank you. I have 1 minute. So I just want to say hello to everybody online. Toby and Mia Ayers here, and we are here to introduce some of our best friends, and we're so excited to do that because we came to hear them tonight.
Yep.
You know, Toby and I love this couple, and you know, we've really grown the business. We've served a lot of people, but you know, when you're building it and you're just like, we just want one more awesome couple to show up in our life that we can serve at the highest level, that believes as big as we believe, that want to win at the level that we want to live in, to win at, and be a part of something great. And Ross and Emily have been that for us. They've been a catalyst in our business and in so many different areas, and she is just a rock star. And always a mother of two, raising two beautiful girls, and raising her amazing husband, and she's just 100% business partner, Ross Cooper. And, you know, and I tell Toby this all the time, thank you for building a great business where amazing people show up and they become who they're intended to become. And that's why this business keeps getting absolutely incredible, because every day it's an opportunity for you guys to shake a hand, to meet a person, and really unlock the potential and unleash the potential that's inside of people. And that's what someone did for us a little while ago. And it changed our life. But Emily has been an incredible business owner, business partner to Ross and to me, and I just love her. And I'm so excited for you to hear from both of them tonight for sure.
I want to put something in you right now, and I want to tell you this, that when each one of our frontline has gotten in business with us, we dream together. Like we dreamed of days like tonight, or nights like tonight. We dreamed of nights like tonight. We spoke into it. Someday, somehow, this is going to be big. Someday, I'm going to be introducing you on stage. Someday, you're going to be on the big stage. Someday, we're going to be up there together doing something special and unique and things that only other people talk about, we're going to be doing. Do you speak that into your people? Because if you don't, it's not going to come true. You got to start with a seed of belief, a seed of hope, a seed of vision, I hope you do that. I hope you come out of tonight realizing this wasn't an accident. This was on purpose. And all the successes you're going to have in life are going to be on purpose. So start setting your purpose so that you walk into your purpose. I'll tell you, Ross has been a great friend for me. Ross has been a buddy. He's been a partner in crime. He's been a guy that just kind of I could just hang out and talk to. He's been a guy I can coach as hard as I want because I know he has this big vision and big goal. So I give him the kind of stuff that very few people get as far as coaching from me. Because not only he can handle it, he wants it. He wants to be coached like that. And people say, oh, I want to be coached like that. But their actions don't show me that they want to be coached like that. So it's a rare combination, but anyone and everyone can do that. And that's what I love about their story. And so you're going to hear some things tonight I believe they're going to bring to this entire room that is only unique to their story. Their age, when they were, the age they were when they got started, the journey they've had, and it will be, to me, it's going to be one of the best success stories we've had on this stage. So without further ado, I want to have them up. I'm so fired up to have them. We're going to have Ross and Emily Cooper, new Emeralds, going to 350 strong, getting diamond done. Bring them on up, Ross and Emily Cooper.
What is happening? LTD is team, baby! Let's go! Yeah, baby! Yeah, picture. What's up, Bears team? What's up, LTD? Let's go. Wow. That was fun. I know that my employees, they cheered for me like that when I walked in. Then they asked me for their paychecks, and then I was like, I ain't got it. And then they left. Just playing. Wow. That was amazing. I mean, Josh and Jackie, Kelly and Jeanette, Tom and Alicia, Toby and Mia. I mean, those couples are our heroes. Toby and Mia, they're our heroes. And I've heard something early on in business, no heroes, no game. And honestly, that's a choice. Having heroes is a choice. Have you ever heard the terminology, don't meet your heroes because you'll be disappointed? Not here. You get to meet your heroes and they'll blow you away. They'll blow you away because they care about you. They'll blow you away because they'll do things. I mean, Toby and Mia, really all these leaders have done things for us that, our family wouldn't do. Many of you have that same experience. And it's been so cool just getting to be a part of the ride, right? And we're excited to share our story with you. You say, well, why? Why does this story matter? Because it was stories like this that kept us around. It was stories like this when we had a lot of fear and a lot of doubt. It was stories like this that helped us to hold on just another year, to believe, man, they're pretty awesome, but I can do this too. And we thought that every single time we heard a story, and to know that, it's pretty common. It's pretty common to think that the things that we're going through is unique, that nobody really understands. That if people just understood what I was going through, they would know that why it's taken me some time, why it's taken us some time. And the more stories you hear, the more you realize that people do understand and they succeed anyway. You know, people go through the same types of struggles, the same types of challenges, and they succeed anyway. And it's also learning how to think like a successful person. And we're a byproduct of that. We're a result of that, because we're going to share some stories. I'm sure you're excited to hear some stories, right? Some you're gonna, you know, be like, man, that guy is not very smart.
I mean, you were smart. You married me, so.
That's right.
There we go. Just kidding. I was smart too because I married you too.
And I'm telling you, we're blown away. We'll talk about this a little bit at the end, but you know, this team today, the treatment, the love, you know, our peers, you know, Santi and Sylvia, Casey and Becky, Daniel and Maria, you know, obviously the Emeralds that you heard from up here. We were at lunch today, and we felt just as much appreciation.
Holy cow, yeah.
From all of them as we ever had, and it's so humbling to hear that. And that's not why we built it, but we believe that one day people would appreciate us as much as we appreciated them. And when you build a business like this, you're almost like, gosh, I don't even know if we deserve this type of appreciation. But you know what? When you get there, you will too. You will deserve it because you'll have gone through something. And so we're excited to share, right?
Yeah, definitely. Before we get into it, I just want to say, today has been such a dream come true.
It sure has.
Like Ross is talking about the relationships of this business. Toby and Mia planned this day so perfectly. And, you know, we felt the love. Our room was filled with so many gifts. You know, the Bremer team, thank you so much for all the flowers, the Krangles, the Ugartechias, the Miller team. You guys are...
Okay. So I'm not trying to interrupt you, even though I just did. There were cookies.
That was the Miller team.
With pictures on. Our picture was on the cookie. How do you get a picture on a cookie? I don't want to eat the cookie because there's a picture on the cookie, and I would be like eating my own face. It'd be weird, but what do you do with it? Does it last forever? I hope there's some Usually you don't want preservatives and stuff. I hope they just pump preservatives into these cookies, man. I'm gonna give these cookies to my grandchildren. Be like, look at that cookie. You'll know you've made it when you got a cookie with your face on it.
Yes, the cookies were awesome. And, you know, that was the Miller team. I think that was from the Batar team, so probably some of the Rodriguez's were in charge of that. Maldonado's, holy cow. You know, Flores's, they put our picture was everywhere. Our faces were
on
everywhere.
Stuff I didn't know you could put faces on.
Yeah. I think we're going to have to redecorate our house after all this.
Cube thing. How did we get in there? How do we get out? I'm in a glass box of emotion.
Will and Diana created an awesome 350. That's our next goal. Thank you guys for that sign. The Vansel team, again, flowers, cupcakes, Shaw team, gifts for our girls, like Krangles and Shaws. That's so sweet of you to include them in our journey because they're a big part of our journey.
Yeah, that tear to see.
You know, the BizNets, you're incredible. The Merit team, and then some of our Cooper team. Thank you, Ayers team. Thank you so much. And then everything Toby and Mia did was just incredible, and I kind of let you get into that, but.
Yeah, I don't know how much we're allowed to talk about because of how extravagant they are, but.
Awesome gifts.
Can we say it? Yeah? Are we? I'm trying to ask for counsel.
Let's just say I'm wearing them.
Counsel, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
But anyways, moving on. You know, building this business has been such an amazing dream. And why don't you go into the golf cart ride? Because it was a full circle today, wasn't it?
Yeah, so, you know, that's a little bit of a fast forward into our story, but I think it is relevant because today we took a little golf cart ride when we got to our hotel. It
wasn't just a golf
in the city
cart.
that we live in, which is pretty awesome, by the way. You know, if somebody sets you up in a hotel in your own town, that's like next level right there. But we're in a little car thing at the hotel, and we were making a little ride around the city of Winter Park, just doing some dream building. It was a blast. And it brought us back to a time when we were riding in Toby and Mia's golf cart in their town. And we had been in the business for a little while. We'll talk about it. And Toby was just letting us know, he's like, there's a wave coming. There's a wave coming. And I'd heard that before, but I could feel it. And he's like, there's a wave coming, and we've got some things figured out. And if you stick with me, there will be victory. And that was kind of the beginning of it all. It was learning to trust one more time. See, that's what so many people do, is they get to a point in their life where they don't give themselves permission to trust one more time. Your family's let you down, your friends have let you down, you've let yourself down. You've had so many letdowns that you're like, what's the point? And then somebody comes into your life and they shake your hand and they look you in the eye and say, I'll help you, I'll be here for you. And for some reason, it's hard for us to trust one more time because we filter it through all these dirty lenses. We filter it through the dirty lens of all those experiences instead of realizing, man, this is the first time somebody said that to me. I'm going to trust one more time. That's probably why you're here. I want to say welcome, because that's what we did. I mean, we trusted one more time. And honestly, if that wasn't the time, we would have trusted again too. We would have stayed in it until we won, because we weren't quitters.
It's so true. And in that moment, we didn't have a business at the time. The only thing we had was friendship, loyalty, respect. There's a quote, leaders that can warm people's hearts can lead them to more. Toby and Mia got into our hearts. And together, we're starting to accomplish more.
Yep. All right, so let's go back before we got in business a little bit, right? So you heard me during the plan. I was talking about I was a skateboarder. And dude, I was a punk rock skater kid, okay? And you would have looked at me, dude, I had a mohawk. Emily has a picture of me with like the sides of my head shaved and everything. I used to run around dancing like this.
We weren't dating at that time, just clarifying.
But you wanted it bad.
Yeah.
We met when we were in elementary school.
You were busy hitting on all the other girls.
I was, but that's where we met. That was where we met, and I was eating my snack pack, and you were like, man, you look good. And
it's not how the story
10
goes.
years later,
it's okay.
There we were. So I was a skater kid. I played in a band. I played guitar. That's how I got her. I would serenade her and write her songs.
Okay, though. Okay.
That's enough we need to say about that, because they were good, real good.
The first song he sang to me, he made fun of me in the song.
It's my way of telling you I like you.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know how to feel right now. Like,
you know what
moved
I'm saying. You
or
got
like
that personality.
Appalled. I'm like, wow, this is great.
All right.
Anyways, that was a long time ago.
So
now just getting off my chest.
And you know what? I was an entrepreneur then too. Because I'd tell my buddies, I'm like, hey, I'm gonna have my buddies over. We're gonna hang, all right? We're gonna play poker. I'd be like, bring your money. And then I'd just school them all. I'd take all their money. I'd be like, that was fun, right? And they're like, I'm gonna get you next time. And I put myself through high school playing poker, which most people don't need to put themselves through high school, but I sure did. And I bought that with poker money, right? And I'm going to Vegas in 2 weeks. I'm ready to rock, okay? I'm gonna turn that 18 into 180, baby. All right. Okay, sorry.
I don't know if you can say that.
I'm not allowed to say that. I'm gonna get fired. I'm not allowed to get fired, but I can't get fired. I was scuba diving. I was off to adventures. And you know what? That's why I fell in love with this team. I looked at that man back there, and I saw another guy who wanted life to be an adventure. And I said, I am in. That's it. Like, that's what it was. That's what it was for me. I was like, I am in. Whatever we're doing, whatever you're doing, it sounds like a blast. I don't know how the plan works. I don't know how to talk to anybody. I don't know how to make any customers. I don't know how anything works. But let's have some fun. And that's what got us in business. You know, we met in art club.
We did.
Right? We were nerds, right? And you
Our
know,
club was cool in our town. You know?
they will never believe that.
Yeah, it was, though.
You know, I told you I wanted to do film. That's how I ended up at Florida Southern. So Emily's dream as a little girl was go to New York City, right?
It definitely was.
And you did.
I did. And, you know, like you were saying during the plan, you know, when you turn your passion into a job, there's a lot that comes with it. And, you know, that was the first dream I ever had. But, hey, your dreams can change. And they can change for the better.
Yep, absolutely. So, you know, I ended up going to college at Florida Southern. I got a scholarship there because I wanted to study film. I applied to the Florida State Film School, and I did not get in. And because they accepted like 25 students a year. And honestly, if I got into that school, I would not be standing here today, and I thank God for it. It was my dream at the time. I wanted to do video. I made videos in high school, and you know, you basically had to have made a movie before you got into that school. I'm not sure what that's all about, but I was really glad because then, you know, I kind of had to take my second option, and I went to Florida Southern on a scholarship, and it's a little tiny private school, and you know, it was during that time where you say, well, what did you want? Were you always motivated? No, man, I literally wanted to be a professional skateboarder. That was my dream. That was my first dream. And I didn't do a lot of, competing, right? I talk a lot about team sports today, and because this is my team. I learned how to be a part of a team from this team, not from a basketball team, not from a football team, but from this team. I learned how to be a team because growing up, I was just kind of like a loner. I had friends, but no real like deep friends. But you know what? I did have a winner mentality because I approached the business like I approached that. Because I wasn't ever the best at skateboarding, but I was relentless. Over and over and over again, hundreds and hundreds of tries, and I'd get beat down. And my buddies were like, "You're right, dude." And I'm like, I will not leave until I get this. And that is how we built this business. That's exactly how I built the business, because every time I got beat down, I was like, I'm gonna figure this out. And I would finally get it. And then I'd have to try 100 more times just to do it a second time. And that's pretty much how I built the business. Dude, just over and over again, oh my gosh, somebody else wants to be a part of this. Somebody else is excited just like I am. And I'd be like, I wanna do it again. And it was gonna take a lot more tries to find it a second time. That was the approach to this business.
No, I love what you're saying there because I was with him when he was he really wanted to pursue skateboarding at the ultimate level. And I saw all that. I went all to the competitions. You know what his number one goal was? That never happened, but thank God. He wanted to get sponsored. He was working so hard to get sponsored. But then, I don't know how many years, that's what I was about to say. We're on the same page. And, you know, like how many years later that was, a few years later, he finally gets sponsored in the right vehicle and for the right impact.
That's really good. Well done.
But it's so important, you know, the thing that we were missing, and all those things that we did, that you did, that I did, the thing that we were missing was an opportunity to do something together. And that was huge, you know.
Well, before we did it together, so this is how I saw the plan, okay? So I went from skater kid to country music fraternity guy. I don't really know. Great. I'm just like, whatever, you know, I'm just like, I'm ready. If I'm in the environment, then I'll do as the Romans do, okay? And I got in this environment, I'm like, I'm gonna do as the Romans do. I'm gonna build it. Because that's what everyone else is doing, right? I just wanted to be a part. You know what I wanted? You know what we wanted? We just wanted to be a part of something bigger than ourselves. I didn't know it at the time. But I loved a community. I loved a support system. And at the time, I loved keg stands. Not
That was
anymore.
Excess stuff.
One day
But-
I will convince excess to make me an excess keg, and then I will do an excess keg stand. It's a dream of mine. I'm allowed to dream. Okay? So anyway.
Yeah, so previous environments put us apart for a lot of reasons,
Sure
for
did.
sure. And, you know, what we saw in this was the environment. We saw an environment that was supportive and healthy. As he just stated, all those seasons in our early life of dating, I was not excited about. I was not excited about the skater friends he had. I was not excited about even the fraternity brothers he had.
Yeah.
They said they had morals, but then I saw something else. And, you know, I was starving for an environment that we could both thrive in. And, you know, impact influence was everything.
Absolutely. So I remember I was in my dorm room, and I wasn't in my dorm room. It was summer break. And one of my fraternity brothers sent me a video. And this was the way that we tried to build the business back in the day. And it did not work. And it doesn't matter, because I remember thinking, this makes no sense, and I'm not going to do that. But my buddy's like, just come to the meeting anyway. So I'm like, all right, whatever. I had my cargo shorts on, and he's like, are you going to change? I'm like, I mean, no, but if I have to. And I went there and I met Toby Ayers. I met him actually in Sebring, which is where we grew up, not at the college. I met him in Sebring. And he was talking about getting back from Vegas and a Q12 check. I'm like, let's go. I'm doing this at the highest level. I want to go there. And honestly, this will be our first time going. Years later, many years later. And I'm going to behave myself, so relax. You know, I got kids now. I got to be responsible. Okay? Okay, so my buddy said, so I end up getting in the business. Now, check this out. His upline was my fraternity brother, who was literally a neighbor of mine. If I opened my dorm room door, I could knock on his door. His upline. He was in the business for 6 months, and he never talked to me. You know why? He didn't think I was sharp.
You were sharp in the inside. He just didn't know.
I get it.
Environment is everything.
Now. But you know what? For sure. You know, because what he didn't know was I had been reading on my own, right? Nobody told me I had to, and I had been reading and I had been learning about business, and I kind of got this dream because I started to learn that you could control your income, you could control your life, and I was like, I want to do that because I don't want to spend my time in an office. That sounds so boring. I want to rock and roll, like I want to skate, I want to have some fun. That was really how I felt. So I was like, well, I want that, so I might as well learn how to get that. And so I started studying real estate. I started studying, the financial world. And on the outside, I did look like a nutball. But on the inside,
I thought you were cute.
Well, thank you. On the inside, I was growing. And it was when I was in that space that I met this team. I'm like, this is kind of a no-brainer. I'm like, I could spend 30 grand in real estate to make $400 a month, or I can go like 1,500 PV. I'm like, that sounds better. So I did. And so I rode my longboard. I had a longboard with a razor sharp point. I rode it to the meeting. My hair was flowing in the wind. And I just put it right up on the front of the room, right next to Toby. And he's like, that guy ain't doing it. I'm spending my time over here. And out of that whole room, we were the only ones who did.
Well, you first. I came a little later.
That's right. And so there was during that time of getting in business, this is like when you sponsor the person, you're like, there's something wrong with that guy, but I'm going to love him anyway. One day something will change, And I remember there was a qualifier. I'm not sure how I qualified. I think by having an IBO number, I qualified. And we're at this place, and I'm sitting in a hammock. And So Jake Shoemaker gets in business with me in college. I'll get to that in a second. But Jake I'm like, hey, Jake, let's do something fun. And he's like, all right, cool. I'm like, spin me all the way around 360 degrees. And he's like, all right, that sounds good. So he's like, whoosh. And I go, whoop, bop. And like concussion level of impact. And you remember me skateboarding. So 50 times later, I'm still doing this. And Toby walks over, he's like, hey, what you doing? And I'm like, I'm doing this. And he's like, do I have depth underneath you? And I'm like, yeah, a little bit. Not really, a little bit. He's like, proceed. And I got it. I did it. Because I was going to keep going. Yeah. And then in my former upline, we'll get to that, he had another guy, and he's like, I want to do it too. First try, got a concussion and left. I never saw that guy again. This was the guy who built it. I was that guy. Was that weird? Toby goes, I'm like, hey, Toby, I bet I could jump over that bush? He's like, no, you can't. I immediately ran. This is my first night out. I immediately ran. I jumped over the bush, but not over the bush, and jumped right into the bush, just like.
Honestly, I was thankful he was sober. Like, there's many of those events that happen in college that there's other things happening there. So I was like, I was in New York at this time, and he's telling me all these things. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, I was so confused. And then I met Mia. I was like, oh, wow. Okay, let's go. Because she was incredible.
So I was excited though. And I was really pretty fired up. You couldn't tell on the outside because you weren't sure if I was going to survive. But I was pretty fired up. So I'm like, I'm going to do this. And so I get together and I'm making my very first phone call to make somebody aware of the opportunity. We didn't really call it that. It was a little different back then. But I'm making my very first phone call. And my upline at the time, he had this script, right? So I proceed to call this guy, and I am doing everything wrong. Like, there was a whole script. I'm like, forget that. I know what I'm doing. So I basically try to show this guy the plan on the phone. That is a really terrible strategy. I don't know who your upline is, but that's not direct counsel, but don't do that. Right? Nobody benefited from showing the plan over the phone. And then my upline at the time was like doing one of this. It's like, look at the freaking script. What are you doing? Sorry for that. And I'm like, shut up. And he's like, look at this. So I'm like, all right, hold on. If all else fails, refer back to that you are in training. I got to call you back, bro. That was my first phone call. But you know what I thought? You know what I thought at the time? That was stupid. But I said, one day I'm going to tell that story in front of hundreds of people. And so many people don't think that way. See, you're listening to this story, but I'm teaching you how to think. Teaching you how to think. What would your experience be? How would you respond to something like that? How would your emotions get wrapped up? How would you care so much about what that other person thought that you would just retract back into yourself and say, I can't do this? But it was just one silly failure. To me, it was like trying a kickflip, failing. Wow, that was silly. I'll get it. I'll figure it out. It took a while. You're seeing some pictures already. There's a picture of us when we got in the business. This is the year we got in business. Toby said we looked like twins. I'm like, that's not cool.
It's kind of true. It's kind of true.
Yeah.
But anyways, At one point, we had the same haircut. That was funny. But we grow our hair. I grow. He loses hair. Thank goodness.
So the second time, I remember learning another time what not to do. And I'm talking to this guy. I had no success at this point. And Emily doesn't really know what's going on because I'm a guy, so I don't tell her nothing. She's like, what are you doing? I'm like, don't worry about it. I'm building my business. She's like, what does that even mean? And so I'm talking to this guy, and I was actually messaging him over like Facebook or whatever.
I think you were visiting me.
No, you were visiting me.
Okay.
And anyway,
I just heard about this story like the other day, so this is awesome.
So I'm talking to this guy. It's the first time there's a person on this other side who's like, man, that sounds awesome. I'm like really excited. I'd love to meet these people. And he's like, they sound really awesome. They sound really sharp. I'm like, yes, finally. And he goes, but I'm pretty young. I don't really have any experience. How do I know that they would be willing to work with me? Which in today's language, you're like, that's perfect. There's respect there. But I go, oh no, trust me, bro. If you can work with us, we can work with you. Brilliant. He says, oh, ... And I never heard from him again, even to this day. So that was my beginning experiences of trying to build the business. Right?
Yes.
But you know what I said? Okay, so I remember this for real. I remember sitting at the table. I was pretty ticked at this point. I was like, what the heck is going on? And I remember just sitting there. I was kind of quiet. Emily's like, what's going on? And I'm like, I'm going to figure this out. Like, for real. Like, in my heart. Because that meant something to me. Because I was like, I don't know what else to do. But I'm going to figure this out. And she didn't really know what I meant by that. But I knew what I meant by that. I knew that I wasn't going to quit trying. I knew that it was just another one, but I'm going to figure this out. And I keep speaking in I because it was a lot me in that season of time, right? You were excited about school and I was excited for you, right?
Yeah, I mean, you got introduced to the business like the week that I was going to New York. And this was a dream of mine for a very long time. So I was focused on that. I supported him. And, in this journey for sure, I was one of his biggest customers. But I wasn't sold out yet just because I didn't meet the people. I was confused by a lot of things. And Summit was actually my first conference. He bought me a conference ticket for my birthday. That was awesome when you don't know what you're walking into. I think I met Toby and Mia like one time before that. But it's pretty awesome because, that was their diamond celebration.
Yep.
And my dreams changed a little bit. I saw what our future could look like, not just the things, but the people that stood behind something. Toby and Mia showed us servitude. They were hospitable leaders. I'm bad at words. No, I'm not. I'm good at words. But my mom's a speech pathologist, and I stumble over words all the time. Irony. But anyways, this business taught me how important it is to serve people. And I was confident, as we started building together, I was confident in the time that Ross was spending in our group, talking to people, making funny phone calls. It was really awkward at the beginning trying to meet people together. I got embarrassed a lot. I would walk away. Like, I love Jeanette's story at Summer about the closet. I would just find clothes racks and hide in there because we were doing the mall for some reason. We were meeting people, not the best way, but our confidence had to go up. But I was so excited about serving people. I was so excited about building relationships. They taught us the correct way. Like Ross mentioned before, we were fighting death from them. We had upline. We had all those people, they left. And it was a little hard for me because when I was in New York, I was excited to come back and build those relationships. And I took it personal because as soon as I came back, we got married, they were gone. And I was like, wow, okay. People quit, but you know what? Who stayed? Toby and Mia. You know, so I knew how it felt to be served, but I also knew how it felt to be unserved. And I took that, and that was my mission in this business, to never treat our team that way, to never give up on our team. I had a no quit mentality. Yes, we had things up and down. We had financial stuff. We had kids scare health stuff. We had all these things. But you know who we had? We had a Toby and Mia that wasn't going to quit, and we weren't going to quit.
Absolutely. So, you know, I did start to figure some things out. We started growing a little bit. I started sponsoring some people, and it's actually pretty crazy. The first guy I ever sponsored, I was sitting on a washing machine in the dorm room, and that was where I met my first person. And I talked to him about my first person that ended up getting in the business, and his name was Chris, and he ended up getting in the business. Well, what I didn't know is that he had a sister, and his sister's name was Lindsay. And today, that girl is Lindsay Shoemaker, married to Jake, which is our first Q12 organization. And what's really funny about that story is, you know, this is how you know you cannot script the business. Because when he saw the plan, we were at our college dorm room and we literally got kicked out. Some negative guy walks in and is like, you can't be doing this here, leave. So we went to another spot, which was in our fraternity house. That guy followed us. We start showing the plan again. That guy's like, get out of here. And I'm going to see if this guy's committed, you know? So we go to Starbucks. By that time, Toby is somewhere, he's working with another organization, but Kelly Bremer showed the plan for me at Starbucks. The third place, we couldn't get kicked out of Starbucks, public place, gotcha, you know? And Kelly Bremer showed the plan. And here we are years later, and we're still with our buddy Toby, side by side, making something happen, but he was serving a cross line for his upline. And today, that person led to our first organization, Jake and Lindsay, because of both of those guys serving Emily and I. And that's what a real team does. See, Kelly was serving his upline.
You're way at me.
All right.
I'm sorry.
I got
listening.
stuff, okay? This was hard for me because I'm like, there's too much stuff. Okay, I was really scared to be up and talk to people. This is a real story. I would get up and talk as a new 100, would get up and talk as a new 300, all the way to 1,500. I got up and all I did was cry. Thanks. That was me. I literally cried. I couldn't say my name. And you might think it was because I was scared. It actually wasn't. I was excited. It was because I cared. It wasn't because I was scared. It was because I cared. This thing had gotten into my heart. These men and women, they got into my heart. And I started to get served. We started to have a dream, and I started to love this business. I started to love this team. I couldn't get enough of it. And when I got up to speak from stage, it was like all that stuff that was on the inside of me, all the audios, all the times I was spending with my upline, all the times we would talk to each other about what our future would look like, all of it just came out all at one time, and I didn't even know how to contain it. And what looked like from someone else, as I was scared to be up there, it was just because of how much was on the inside that was trying to come out. And that's what happens. Give yourself some years in this business. Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth will speak. And that's what happened. That's what has continued to happen. I learned how to control myself at 2,500, right? So if you said your name at 100 PV and you didn't cry, you're doing better than we did. Doing better than I did.
100%. You can say we. It's okay. Because for me, the meeting people is the scariest part of this business, and this business thrives on people in your life.
That's so much.
And I love all your stories. I definitely have my own, and I'm a so I don't know how to say it. I used to be a perfectionist. Is there any perfectionists out there? You care so much, you care so deeply, and you're afraid of messing up. I was afraid, my self-image wasn't there enough to go and do the work. So sometimes I would get these bursts of I'm gonna do this, I got this, and then somebody says no to you. Or somebody said no to me. I remember I was so proud of myself because I talked to a lawyer. And I remember she was so excited as we were talking, and then I got later on, I told Ross, I told Toby and Mia about this awesome lawyer I talked to. I was so excited. And then I followed up, and she texted me, never mind, my husband thinks you're in a pyramid scheme, good luck. And I'm like, at this point, I was a mom, so I was like, ooh, mama bear's coming out, right? But it affected me. As much as I sounded tough, I felt tough, it affected me to actually continue to do the work. And this is the biggest thing. We learned to work together. I learned to be a team to Ross. I learned that, the reasons why I did things wasn't really always the reasons why Ross did things. And here's what I mean by that. I switched the reason why I went out and talked to people. The reason wasn't to get results. The reason was to help with my communication. The reason was to build myself as a business owner and communicate when it's uncomfortable and difficult so that I could be more effective in the QIs and the meetings that we had scheduled together. Yep. And that's why after I learned that and figured out why I need to go do something, took the pressure off, I stopped being a perfectionist, and we got some traction, didn't we?
Yep. Yeah, before we got some traction, though, we went through what I refer to as the dark ages. So we built.
Do we have to go back there?
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
We gotta. It's part of our story. So we built a business in college, and we got some success. We got it to 7,500. It's like, wow. I graduated from college. I moved out of my dorm room, and I flew to Summit to get recognized as a new silver all on the same day.
I remember that.
But we basically sold our way there. So guess what happened? Eep, right? We didn't really have the infrastructure. That's why you need a powerful network. That's why you need the right people. We did not have that. We were just fired up, and I'm like, I'm going to sell my way there, and we did. But then we went through this season of up and down. I'd get fired up at a conference, I'd do some work, and a blip would be on the radar, and it'd kind of fall apart because we weren't doing enough. We were at 211 degrees, and we didn't know it. We felt like we were heating up, but we didn't know that the water doesn't boil until 212. And we were at 211 degrees. We'd get up to 211 degrees, and then we'd take the pot off the burner. And that was kind of our cycle, a yo-yo. And I got negative, to be honest with you. We built, because I was working in corporate America, and I'm like, I have got to get out of here. And that's what made me start my first business. I used the principles from the LTD system, and I used it to build a traditional company. And things went pretty good, and we didn't quit the business physically, but we just got very distracted in other things. So much so that I would get mad at Emily, right? Because I would be working on my business, my traditional business, and I'd be making money and I'd be succeeding. But then Emily would be at home like, hey, let's add a few new legs to the next conference. That's going to be awesome. And because she always had hope. And I'd be like, I'm working so hard over here and I'm succeeding. I'm like, what more do you want from me? That was how I felt. But thank God I had a winner.
I wanted you.
Amen.
I wanted you.
She didn't want all that. She would, even if we made $1 million a year, she would still want this business because it wasn't the business, it was us. This was our dream. And that was just my dream. And that's the thing, like we think our wives, we think our significant others, they just care about the money. They don't care about the money. You know, ask your kids how much they care about the money. You know, hey, sweetie, I'm going to leave for the week. I'm going to leave you, leave your sister. I'm going to leave for the week, but it's okay. I'm going to come back, and I'm going to have more money. Are you excited? What do you think they're going to say? Like, I don't care about that. I don't want you to leave. And that was kind of where I was at. You know, my attitude suffered, and then I started to really struggle in business. I remember I bought the franchise, and it sounds so awesome, and there were times where it was. And I remember right after I bought it, I had like $50,000 in cash in the bank. And then a week later, it was my birthday. I remember waking up on my birthday. We had stuff to do that day together. And I looked at my account, and I was negative $3,000. And I had $10,000 in bills due that week. And that was the beginning of a very complicated road in the traditional business world, where I got woken up on what it really looks like to run a traditional business. You think it's hard living paycheck to paycheck in a job? Try it in your own business. We've never had to deal with that from the Amway Business Opportunity. Not once did we have to worry about freaking going bankrupt next month. Every day we could just start over. We could get more committed again. We could, it was that experience that helped us to love this. But during that time, I got negative. I was just not like, I felt like the past equaled the future, but Toby and Mia loved us through it. They stayed our friends. We would go to the beach house together. We'd spend time together, and they just wanted to be our friends. And it kept us around because we were like, we love these people. We love their family.
They supported us even when we made decisions that didn't look like it was supporting the business.
That's right.
Did they agree with those decisions? Absolutely not. But they didn't give us a hard time. They loved us. They gave us their guidance, but they also let us have a decision. Because now it was our decision. It's our life. It's our story. Like, how powerful is that? So.
Absolutely. So during that time, Jake and Lindsay, they ended up moving to Orlando to pursue the business. And this was before the golf cart conversation. This was before we started to, re-energize our philosophy, which was really what the conversation was about. It was the QI philosophy that Larry Winters went from 65 people to 3,000 people in 3 years with. We just weren't, I was personally not following the philosophy of choosing the right people, and we had to figure that out. But Jake and Lindsay were in business with us, and they started getting coaching from Toby and Mia. They started outgrowing Emily and I. And here's what a lot of upline do when that happens. They get real uneasy, real competitive, and they start getting really out of whack because they're like, my downline is being edified more than I am. My downline's outgrowing me. And they want to jockey for position. No, I'm the upline. No, you're in business because of me, and all this stupid stuff. And I was like, thank God. They're in our group. I could always grow outside of them. And the bigger their business is, the better it is for them and for us. And so I celebrated it. Jake would talk to me, and he would ask me questions. To my own downline, I would say, Jake, I'm not your coach. I am not qualified to give you that answer. And I lowered my ego for his benefit because I loved him, and I still do. And thank God, because we're still best friends today, and most people would, like get just totally out of whack. And thank God, love my boy. He's my boy. You're my boy, Blue. Where you at? And so I never got in competition with my downline. It's one of the biggest phenomenons. It's one of the stupidest things that can happen in the Amway business is getting in competition with your downline. And so we had that golf cart ride. Yep. And we changed our philosophy. And I decided to believe again, and I decided to fix my attitude. See, I was self-aware enough. I started to think about what I was thinking about. I started to ask myself, hey, is this negative thought even true? I used to be like, oh, well, the business isn't growing. And I'd be like, well, that guy's succeeding. So that alone immediately discredited my belief system. And I'm just like, let's get rid of the stinking thinking and let's believe again. Let's take a whole new look on life and let's pursue this thing. And we did. And it started to, it didn't happen overnight, right? I don't know if you're ready to chime in here.
Yes, it didn't happen overnight for sure. And, one thing I have here, I think a lot of times we talk about how awesome the environment is, and we can kind of start to be what's the word I want to use? Numb to it. We're like, oh, okay, the environment's awesome. So at some point we're going to grow. At some point things are going to happen. Or, I'm protected by life because I'm in this environment. No environment is bulletproof. Zero. But you know what is? When you get into the right mindset and you have the right mindset when life happens and you're in a healthy environment that can help that and you stay focused, that's what makes you bulletproof. And that's what Ross and I have done. We decided to be bulletproof. Yes, things come our way, good things that we have to figure out a victory over. We have to figure out solution mindset. You know what this business taught me? How to be excited about the victories and have a solution mindset. Everything has a solution if you decide to go after this solution. And, that is the biggest thing that we have held on to. And we made our path fun so that our team, our leaders, could see, wow, they did this, we can do it too. And that's what we've done, is help people become bulletproof in their minds and their hearts.
Yep. So we started getting after it again, and I was doing everything I thought I could do, and I was just in this place because everything fell apart one more time. This is the last time I remember this kind of thing happening. I remember being in the car, and I kind of broke down, and I was like, honey, I don't know what else to do. And she was strong for me that day. She said, we're going to figure this out together. She was like, we can do this. And thank God, because I was personally, I was wiped. And so we went to a conference, and so we started to figure a little bit more out. I remember going to a conference, and I was rocked. We had a couple new people there, and we heard some really good stuff. And I remember making a pretty strong decision. It wasn't the decision, I'll get to that in a second, but I made a pretty strong decision like, hey, we're gonna get after this thing again. We're gonna have a good attitude again. And we're on our way home, and I get a call from my dad. And my dad has our 3-year-old little girl at the time. And he said, hey, I don't know what's going on, but Chloe just had a seizure, and we're at the hospital. And she seems okay, and he's crying, we're crying, because it's our little girl. And we wanted nothing more than to be with her there in that moment. And the first person I called was Toby. Because he was the only one who I knew would encourage me. He was the only one who wouldn't be like, well, why are you out of town? Because we're doing something for our family. And he was like, hey, it's going to be okay. I'm here for you. And we spoke victory over it, and she's fine today. And I remember that being a testing moment.
And I just want to thank you for that. Thank you. Add to that story, we weren't alone in the car. We had our downline in the back seat. And it's really hard to hide something like that when that happens, but that's why he called Toby. So we could get ourselves together. They could see an example of responding, of victory, and not reacting to chaos. That was huge. And, they're in our business today. George and Tia, they're thriving, and they remember that. They remember how we stood on victory, and we didn't stand on, okay, things are happening, so we're going to take 5,000 more years to build this business. No, we had another reason.
Yeah, so I remember we were at a night owl, and there was this like 18-year-old kid. We were at a Fuzzy's Taco place, and there's this 18-year-old kid, and he's kind of like listening to our night owl, and so I'm like, this kid's listening. So after the night owl, I make a beeline over to him. I'm like, you're probably wondering what the heck we're talking about. He's like, yeah, but it sounds awesome. So he takes my number down. We didn't connect. 3 months later, he calls me. It's at midnight. I'm literally in bed. I lean over. I'm like, this kid is calling me at midnight. And I'm like, I ain't answering that. She's
I said, answer it. We're trying to build this business.
She's like, what do you have to lose? So I answer the phone call. He ends up getting in business, and that led us to George and Tia. They're 2,500s today. And it led us to another organization, David and Sophia Deal, who are 4,000s today because of answering that one phone call. We didn't sponsor all the sharpest people. You look at you look at people, you're like, man, they just sponsor sharp people. No, I sponsored this one kid. His name was Dylan, right? And he got his shorts hemmed to be shorter. He bought shorts and then hemmed them to make them even shorter. This was the guy.
To exact 4 inches. I'm like, that's the shorts I wear.
I'm glad
Where
I
did you meet him?
And he had these three blow up aliens that he kept in his back seat with seatbelts on, and he called them Ed, and Eddie. And he was telling me this story. He was driving down the highway, and one of them just got out of the window. Can you imagine being behind that guy? You're just driving down the highway, and then an alien flies out, and he pulls over on the side of the road and runs down the highway to rescue him. This was the guy that I'm like, he's a good fit. Sponsor him. All right. Our former upline tried to get us to quit. Same day, former upline platinum, and a downline that I sponsored 4 times. It's a story for another time. I talked to them both on the same day. They both tried to get me to quit. And I called Toby fired up. It was what I needed. Tell me I can't do something. That was what I needed. I needed that because I was like, And sometimes people get scared, like they don't want that. I was like, bring it on. I didn't ask for more of it, but when it came, I was like, you just pushed me into a corner. And when I get pushed into a corner, I come back swinging.
That was the same upline that I found years later. I didn't know this, he protected me from a lot of things. Like, thank God I had a husband that cared about where my self-image was and things I need to be focused on. But when I got into business, I guess our upline talked to Toby and Mia and how negative I was. Just because I wasn't building the business, but I was one of his biggest customers. Who's still here today? Who was negative and who was not? So anyways, stay true to your ground. Stay true to what your dreams are. Stay true to what you believe in. Don't let anybody shake it.
Amen. So we'll wrap up with
4 minutes.
with this. So we start making a run to platinum. I remember we started building a little team of kids outside of Jake and Lindsay. We got excited. We went to Summit, and I heard some things that I was like, man, let's go. And it was this little ragtag team. Santi, if you want to put it up there. This was the team that we had. No, there's the one before this. That was the team. And we're eating, and I'm speaking to them. I said, guys, we're going to do this. A team of 10 that's unified is more powerful than a team of 100 that's not, and we're unified. And we're not going to talk a big game. We're going to walk a big game, and we're going to be quietly taking ground month in, month out from here on out and show them the next conference. This was the next conference. After that, and then, so that was the next conference, and David Deal, who's a 4,000 today, Hunter Putnam, who is a platinum, one of our 3 platinums for Emerald, and Justin Goodchild, our 2nd platinum for Emerald. All 3 of those guys showed up between that conference and this conference. That was all their first conference right there. Show one more picture. Show the next one. That was the next conference. Show one more after that. So this was in a 12-month period of time. We went from that little ragtag group of people to here, and that was the month that we went 7,500. That was that summit that year. So what happened? Like, we went to work. We sponsored 2 new platinum legs plus another 4,000 leg, all from one conference to the next. What can you do from now to Vault? What can you do? You know, I remember meeting Justin. He was at an ice cream shop, and he was wearing a hat. It was a Marines hat. I said, hey, did you serve in the Marines? He's like, you bet I did. I said, thank you for your service. And literally the rest was automatic, because he can talk, man. And he was excited, and I called him on Super Bowl Sunday, because I'm not watching a stupid Super Bowl. I got a dream. And he gets in the business, and they're platinums today. And then Hunter Putnam. So we got a gift card from Toby at to go to Cheesecake Factory. And it was for watching his dog Thor. So we go, and I remember talking to Hunter, and we mentioned something briefly before dinner, and I talked to Emily. I'm like, we're going to see that guy on the way out. And she's like, all right. And sure enough, we did. We actually saw him in the parking lot. I'm like, hey, what'd you think? You know, what'd you get? Whatever. And
we did just see him in the parking lot. You ran and then stopped. Like,
I was going to cut him off. I had a strategery, okay?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
you gotta keep up.
You have to make things happen, and things don't just happen.
And Hunter and Amy are a platinum today. So Hunter sponsors his sister, Allie. And Hunter's with Allie, and he walks by a window. He says, see that girl? If you don't walk in there and contact that girl, I will. Well, he did, and that's Amy Putnam, and they're married today, and they're platinums. And that actually led to Hunter AJ and Allie Viviani, and they're another personal organization, 2,500s today, and they're amazing people. And we went to 7,500 together. We helped them win. It was awesome. Anything you want to say to close up?
We're just forever grateful for this team, for the LTD team, for the Amway opportunity, for Toby and Mia, and our team. And we're just forever grateful. Like, this is what we love to do with our life. We talk about this with our girls, and our girls want to be in rooms like this, and they're only 8 and almost 5 years old. It's so powerful to do something that's worth it for you, worth it if you're, married, and then worth it for your kids and other families. It's big.
And here's the last thing I'll say is you haven't seen nothing yet.
No.
Not from Emily and I, but from the Ayers team.
Yep.
And from the LTD team, because those leaders in the back, Kelly and Jeanette Bremer, Tom and Alicia Miller, Santi and Sylvia Flores, Daniel and Marie Ugartechia, Josh and Jackie Nangle, Toby and Mia Ayers, they've got a big dream. And we're chasing, and Casey and Becky Vansel, they've got a big dream, and we're chasing their coattails just as much as they learn from us, we learn from them. That's what a team does. And we appreciate you guys. We love you for your support and how much you've encouraged us, and we wouldn't be who we are today if it wasn't for you guys. And if you're on their team, you got the best of the best. We love you guys.
Love you.
Thank you for letting us share.
I was sitting with Jake that day. We were like,
Ross and Emily, everybody. How good was that? How good was that? Is that incredible? Did that fly by? How many of you would like to hear that on audio? Get that out in audio. I know I would. So many stories in there, so much hope in there. I truly hear stories like that, and it's times in your life that you question things about certain moments in time that could change the whole trajectory in watching what they've done. And it's just the beginning, like they said. So Ross and Emily, incredible job tonight. This was a huge blessing. Now, what we're going to do right now is we're going to take a 15-minute break. We're going to have everyone exit the room. We need 15 minutes, and then we're going to let everyone back in that has their conference ticket. We're doing a little night owl. Now, if that's not you, if you don't have yours, that's not pressure to get your conference ticket. That's not, you have to do that. If you're not ready for that, don't get it. We're just giving a little bit more, and then we're going to only do that for about 45 minutes to an hour, and then we're getting with the silvers and above tonight in the same room. It's a power-packed night. We have everybody together. We don't want to waste an ounce of tonight. There's so much that we're going to share with you in this next session. Me and I just got back from the Amway Corporation. We had our new Founders EDC Day up at Amway. We're going to show you pictures of that. We're going to do a little jam session with Ross and Emily, and then me and I are going to close it out. So what a night. What a night so far. Ross and Emily, you've inspired us tonight to be better. Thank you. God bless you guys. Have a great night. Everybody, please exit, and then we're going to let you guys back in about 15 minutes. Thank you. Oh, and by the way, have your ticket on your phone open so you can show us the ticket so we can let you in. Thank you.
Okay, yo, wake up every day with a plan. Make ways from UK to Japan.
Just as a quick heads up, James Anthony Rivera, we seem to have your wallet back here. If you can come back here, we can get it to you. Check your ID, check your face. If all the people